Refuting the Sabbath is just spiritual rest argument. Let's be clear. The Sabbath was never changed by God, Jesus, or his apostles. The claim that Sabbath is now just a spiritual rest from sin rather than a literal day God set apart is a man-made reinterpretation designed to avoid obedience to the fourth commandment. It collapses under the weight of Scripture. 1. Sabbath is a literal, sanctified day, not a feeling. Genesis 2:2-3 states plainly, "And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." The Sabbath was set apart before sin, before Israel, and before the Mosaic law. It is not a symbol of avoiding sin. It's a literal, blessed and sanctified day. God didn't bless the act of not sinning, he blessed the day itself. Nowhere in the Bible does God say, the Sabbath means spiritual rest from adultery, fornication, or gossip. That's twisting the text. The Sabbath is time-based, not metaphorical, just as marriage is a literal covenant, not just faithfulness in my heart. So the Sabbath is a literal 24-hour day set aside for sacred rest and worship. 2. The Sabbath command was written in stone by God's finger, Exodus 28:11. Clearly states, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God." If Sabbath were only a spiritual condition, why did God write it into the 10 Commandments, the eternal moral law, with his own finger, Exodus 31:18? Why would he command people to cease from all work on a specific day if he only meant to stop sinning? This is not ceremonial law. This is part of the 10 Commandments, the same law that says, "Thou shalt not kill," and "Thou shalt not commit adultery." If those still apply, so does the Sabbath. 3. Jesus kept the literal Sabbath and declared he is Lord of it. Luke 4:16 says Jesus went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as his custom was. He kept the seventh-day Sabbath his entire life. In Mark 2:27-28, Jesus said, "The Sabbath was made for man, therefore the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath." This wasn't a metaphor. He was responding to accusations about picking grain, not committing sin, but doing physical labor. Yet Jesus never said, "Now the Sabbath is about resting from lust." That's adding to Scripture. 4. Sabbath keeping continued after Jesus' resurrection. Luke 23:56 proves that even after Jesus' death, they rested the Sabbath day according to the commandment. Acts 13:42-44 and Acts 17:2 show Paul kept the Sabbath with Gentiles decades later. If the Sabbath had been transformed into a mystical, everyday rest from sin, why didn't Paul say that? Instead, he preached every Sabbath day. 5. Spiritual rest and Sabbath are not the same. Jesus said, "Come unto me, and I will give you rest." Matthew chapter 11:28, referring to peace for the soul. But that's not the same as the fourth commandment, which specifies a weekly holy day. The argument that if you lust, gossip, or commit sin, you break the Sabbath is a confusion of categories. Sin breaks all the commandments, not just the Sabbath. But none of that removes God's specific command to rest on the seventh day. 6. Hebrews 4 confirms the Sabbath remains. Hebrews 4:9, KJV. There remaineth therefore a rest, Greek, sabbatismos, to the people of God. Sabbatismos means a literal Sabbath keeping. This was written after Christ's resurrection. The New Testament still affirms a literal Sabbath. Conclusion. The Sabbath is not abolished, not spiritualized, and not Sunday. It is a literal, holy day created in Eden, written in stone, honored by Jesus, kept by the apostles, and confirmed in prophecy. Isaiah 66:23. Sunday is a man-made tradition. The seventh-day Sabbath is God's command. Prove me wrong. from Scripture.